and welcome to another edition of the Simsbury Woman. My name is Shannon Knall, and joining me today is Simsbury artist Catherine Elliott. Catherine, thank you so much for joining us here today.
You're welcome, Shannon. My pleasure.
I'm so thrilled to have you here because I know your work is something that is treasured by so many in this community and beyond this community. So I'm excited that we're going to be able to have some of your time to talk about it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Me too.
Let's start at the beginning, if you will. I want to know a little bit about you and what brought you to Simsbury.
Well, my mother brought me to Simsbury. I was born in Hartford Hospital, and my parents lived at a house in East Weetog Street, the oldest house in Simsbury, built in 1717. So I spent my first 21 years there at that house.
So you're a native?
A native, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And then you left and came back, or have you?
Yeah, I did. I went to college and left and lived at other side of Connecticut, eastern part for a while, then moved back and had my family here.
And what drew you back to Simsbury? Just memories of your...
Yeah, it's just memories of a good childhood and how much I love the town and how I still love the town.
Excellent. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
And how did you discover your love for painting?
I think it was we had horses growing up. I used to ride a lot around town.
Wow.
Ride to the center of town and things, and I just had love the landscape of Simsbury and the beauty of the old town.
And that
inspired me.
That inspired you?
It inspired me. And then I went to Simsbury High School, and I was always hanging out in the art room. And there was a new school in town called Westledge, which where Master's School is now.
Okay.
And I got a scholarship to go there, and there was a good art department.
Aha.
And there was a teacher there that just took me under her wing, and we'd paint every day and really fostered my love of painting.
Wow.
At a young age.
And you were able to turn this into a career for yourself, too, which is
slowly,
wonderful.
Yes. Very slowly.
Yes.
That's what I say to everyone. It didn't happen overnight.
I'm sure.
For sure. It's been almost 30 years now of actively painting.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So let's start with, we have a few pieces of your artwork here, and I wanted to take some time to focus on a couple of pieces that were Simsbury specific. So let's start with this one behind us, which is downtown with the Historical Society.
Right. It's looking south on Route 10. This is a print I did a while ago. This is a print, which is not an original painting. People don't always know that. And the original painting was quite large. In front of the Methodist Church, it would be on the right. And then I made it into a print because people love Simsbury prints. And I've done, I think, 4 or 5 different ones. This is an older one.
Well, it's so
a few years ago. Yeah.
It's not to love.
Right. Our town, especially the center of town, is beautiful. And I painted a million times and always have a different look to it, I think. That was in the fall.
Okay.
That one.
And then the one next to it is Hopbrook.
That's Hopbrook that I just painted last winter.
Okay.
It's right across the street from my house. I don't have to go very far to find inspiration and something to paint.
I know. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
And was this a commissioned piece of work?
That
or was
wasn't. That was just a small study, I call it.
Okay.
And that one I did, a lot of times I paint outside. I'll set my easel up, and that's called plein air painting.
Okay.
Which is popular now. And that's a study, and I'll bring home that and do a larger one from the study. It's kind of like a note. I could take a note for a story.
I see.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. Well, they're lovely, of course.
You.
And now, in the span of your career, you have not just stayed in Simsbury. You've had opportunities to travel to other places in the country and the world to paint as well. So, and I know this piece is from Ireland.
Right.
Okay.
From Ireland. I've been 9 times now.
Wow.
Back and forth. And I teach a workshop in County Kerry in Valentia Island.
Oh, how nice.
I'm not going this year. But this is a commission piece that I did for someone that wanted a piece. It's going to be mailed out to the middle of the country in the Midwest. A surgeon found my website, and said he's very Irish and wanted Irish painting.
That is very Irish looking.
He told me exactly what he wanted, the thatched roof and the gray sky.
There it is.
There it is.
You have captured it.
Yeah, I've seen it enough.
So when in your travels, when you're meeting people from around the world and you're doing these classes, what is the reception and how do people react to your career and your work?
Yeah. Well, one thing I was saying to you earlier, I love painting so much because it brings so much joy to people, and I can bring part of the outside and different places into their homes for them to love. And
you have the opportunity to teach people.
Yeah, I do. I enjoy teaching. I used to teach at West Hartford Art League for a number of years. on a daily basis. But now I just do workshops. And a workshop is just a more of an intensive time to paint for 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
And really kind of jumpstart people as a hobby to start painting.
Well, this is my question to you. Can anybody paint?
Yes.
Okay, because I feel very strongly that I cannot, but if you tell me otherwise, I believe you.
You can.
Okay.
I've had, I won't name anybody in town, but
Okay.
some people. I actually had an Olympic skater, Ekaterina, years ago, who was a gold medal skater who was in town at the skating rink.
Right.
And she called me up, so I've seen your paintings, and I would love to learn to paint, but with her broken English, but I can't really paint, and I gave her some private lessons, and she's been painting ever since, and she lives in California now.
Wow.
But she still paints a little bit.
Nice.
So that was exciting, yeah, but she is very timid about it.
Well, it can be kind of a daunting endeavor.
Yes.
I mean, coming from someone, like I said, who I firmly believe I cannot paint.
Oh.
But I imagine it takes a certain guidance to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, I usually start with a demonstration, and I'll set up the easel, and I'll just take it step by step and break it down, and people can kind of, they don't get overwhelmed with, oh, I have to paint this exactly like it.
Right. I think that's what I mean about it being daunting. It's an overwhelming task to look at something like that and think, how will I ever create that? But
Right.
it's so remarkable that you can, and that you can share that with other people too.
I compare it to music a lot. If you learn a simple song, then you can branch on from there. You know, not overwhelmed.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So over here we have another piece that's somewhat local. This was painted at McLean Refuge.
Yes, McLean Game Refuge in Granby. And this one, I brought this one just to show, I do a lot of commission paintings, which means someone will call me up and say, oh, I love McLean Game Refuge. I would like a large painting of the stream. And sometimes they'll give me colors from their couch swatches or their wall to match. And I do kind of a mock-up, which is a small painting, to see what the larger painting that they're going to purchase is like. And that was called a mock-up. It's very roughly done, just some of the colors. And then if they say, well, they don't like that color, that particular image, we can work from there. So it's kind of a rough draft of a painting, not really a finished piece.
Well, it's very pretty.
Thank you.
For a rough draft.
I'll take it.
And so was this expanded into a bigger piece?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
See. And was it changed very much from this?
It was. They wanted a little less yellows in there, and just the angles a little bit different. And sometimes people will purchase the smaller one, just like when you take pictures at a photographer. Yeah, sometimes they don't, and then I can resell them other times.
Very
That's
nice.
what that is.
And then we have over here, we have a picture from Nantucket, your latest trip to Nantucket.
Yes, I just got back yesterday from Nantucket. And I go there once a year, and I stay at a bed and breakfast called the Century House. And I paint for the whole week there every day and night. And this particular day, I think I got up at 5:30 in the morning and painted, because there's no cars in the center of the town.
Right.
I painted all day, and that was a night scene that I did that night with the street lights.
And you were painting this during the day?
This is at night. This is like 7 or 8 at night.
Okay, that's right.
For a few hours, yeah.
Got it.
With a lantern. I know. It could have been early morning.
Right, exactly.
Night. That was a lot of fun.
Exactly. Now, where else have your travels taken you?
Well, I've got 2 daughters in California, so I go to Santa Barbara a lot.
And will you paint there?
I will. Yeah, I paint there, and I do some competitions there.
Oh. So this is part of who you are. This is part of your identity, which is so nice. It's something that you can take with you everywhere you go, and you love what you do, and you love it so much that you've made a career out of it. Right. How did you take the step into making a career out of it? That must have been, was it a natural transition, or was it something that you really had to think about? Yeah,
I knew from an early age, like I said, I wanted to do something with art and painting. And I had my children fairly young, within 5 years, 3 children. And I just would, when they were taking naps, I would paint a little bit, or I'd read an article, or go to galleries and see people's work. So it was I knew it was going to take a long time. I think I gave myself maybe 10 years. So I didn't rush it. And just slowly, like music too, I painted more and more and more practice, so I, of course, get better.
Right. Well, this was one of my questions. I'm curious to hear how your works have evolved over the years. How did you start? Was there a specific setting that you were very comfortable with and you've branched out from there?
Yeah, I'd say right in Simsbury, right
Okay.
around here in West Simsbury. I'd go up by the apple barn and paint up there. And just, like Monet, one of my favorite artists, would do paintings of different times of the day,
Yes.
like the haystacks.
Yes.
And I would do that around Simsbury. A beautiful sunset, I would paint that, just to get practice under my belt.
So you've
Yeah.
accumulated, I can imagine you have so many works. How much do you
Well,
think
I
you've done?
sell most of them. I don't have.
Well, this is good.
Yes, it is good.
You have to do
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, I know. And someone was asking me the other day how I make it as an artist nowadays. And I really think 50% time is marketing and 50% actually painting,
Right.
especially with this market. It wasn't quite like that for a while before
Right.
the crash, but now it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you seen things pick up? Do you feel like
No, not really.
No.
I have to work a lot harder in sales because no one has the money as much to
right?
do that. But if you want something special for your home, you'll do that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so going back to my question, how has your work changed or evolved over the years?
Well, I love Impressionism, which is what Monet taught. And I know how it's changed. I do a lot more painting outside, plein air events. And in the last 10 years, plein air, it's called, is something that artists come out and they paint. And this is a magazine, Plein Air Art, which is maybe 5 years old. And I'm quite involved with different things with them. Like I have, here's a show that I entered in Texas, and there's a painting, if you can see it right there, of mine.
Oh, very nice.
And that's in Old Lyme, Connecticut. So this is a great magazine, and there's also lots of events all across the country. You can pick this up at Borders or Barnes & Noble. Events, here's one, it's called Plein Air Painting, and what you do is you send pictures of your work, images, and then you get juried in, they call it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then you get chosen, and you go out and paint. I'm doing one out in Fort Collins, Colorado in July.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's with some of the best artists in the nation, which is exciting.
Good for you.
But a lot of pressure, and there's competitions at the end and prizes and things. So
Wow.
yeah.
How long does the competition last?
Well, it's this one is a little bit longer. I think it's 10 days of painting.
Wow.
And then at the end they have a sale of the paintings that you paint for a fundraiser. It's usually a fundraiser. And this one is saving we can pronounce it right. It's in the foot of the Rockies, Purdue River.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It starts with a P.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So that's my biggest.
Wow, but that also sounds intense.
Very intense. Yeah, it really is. But I love painting so much, so it's exciting. It's almost like a marathon. My daughter runs. It's just like you build up and then you show them what you have. So.
It sounds like that as well. And we're so fortunate to be able to have you representing Simsbury when you go to do these competitions around the world and across the country. It's
really
you're taking a little piece of us with you.
Yeah, I really am. Things that I've learned from the beauty in Simsbury.
Right. So tell me a little bit about the classes and the teaching opportunities that you have right here in town. Say I was interested.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, quite a few people say, oh, do you give lessons?
Right.
And I don't have a lot of time right now with all these other painting projects. So in the summer I do 2 sessions called Painting in the Garden. And that's at my home. I have a big garden in the back. It used to be a tennis court, the size of a tennis court. And then people just come and paint there for the weekend.
Wow.
For Saturday and Sunday. And then Friday night, I do a demo from 6 till 8. And we have wine or hors d'oeuvres. And people just sit back and relax, bring their own chair.
Wow.
And watch me paint. And I talk about what we're going to do for the next 2 days.
Very nice.
And that breaks the ice a little with people that are getting a little timid about painting.
Right. So you're able to just kind of give them the comfort zone, if you will.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. And I'd say most of the people that come have never painted before, and some have.
Are they local, or are people coming from
no,
town?
all over. I've got them coming from New York, and
Good for you.
Yeah, and they stay at the bed and breakfast in town.
That works.
Yeah.
And now, I'm jumping around a little bit, but I wanted to talk a little bit about, again, how you were starting in painting and how you kind of have fostered this love into a career.
Yeah.
Did it come from somewhere, like your parents?
Oh, that's a good question. I have quite a few parents, quite a few relatives that are really into painting. They're deceased. I have one that wrote a book about color and light, an uncle.
Wow.
I have another uncle who taught at the Academy in Philadelphia, a very well-known watercolor painter.
Wow.
So I think that helped.
So this is in you. This is
It's
in your
me,
genes.
Yeah. We have a lot of paintings that my relatives collected that I have in my home now that are old that really inspired me. Yeah.
That's nice. You mentioned Monet as well as one of your favorite artists. Are there others that have you've taken a page from?
Yeah, I love the turn of the century painters in Connecticut, especially Old Lyme at the Florence Griswold Museum. Yeah, I really got inspired by them, and I'm an elected member at the Lyme Art Association, which is really an honor to me.
That is.
For the state of Connecticut.
Wow. Yeah. And Impressionism is your favorite.
Right.
There's a word that I'm looking for.
Medium.
Medium. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Or no, medium is more. I do oil paintings.
Okay.
It's a style that I paint. Yeah.
Impressionism is something that you've.
Right.
That's where you.
Yeah, which is called plein air painting again.
Okay.
But that's just a term that we use a lot more now. It's a French term. It means out in the open air.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And is there a network of painters in the area that you interact with?
Yeah, I'm one of the founding members of the Connecticut Plein Air Painters.
Okay.
Which is one of the oldest plein air groups in the United States. I think it's the second one. And I think it's about 17 years old now, 18 years old. But I haven't done so much with that. I'm a little more independent these days, doing a lot. But also Simsbury Open Studios is something with the open house is great.
Yes.
We just had one last month.
I remember that. I did see signs about that. And because this is a show that's called The Simsbury Woman, what is the landscape, if you will, for women in painting, women who are making a career out of their love of painting?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, it's like everything. I think we have to work a little harder than men to be noticed. You know what that's about. But yeah, there's some wonderful, well-known artists in the United States. A little bit more men than there are women. Maybe they take it a little more seriously as a career than women. I'm not sure. But I'd say there's some wonderful women artists out there.
Well, we're always kind of balancing everything,
yeah,
too.
well, that's it, exactly. A lot of them.
Balancing a family.
Yes, I think that's probably the bigger issue.
Right. And speaking of family, do your children paint as well?
No, but my middle daughter in California has a booming business right now. She's in her 30s, and she does silk screening yoga clothing. Oh. In L.A.
Okay.
Yeah, and she just got a big order with Urban Outfitters, and
wow, good for her.
She's taken off.
Good for her. Yeah. So, but she had to have gotten a little bit of that.
I think she
from
did.
You.
Yeah,
yes.
She got that independent. We can do anything. If we put our mind to it. So she works very hard.
Yes,
I do, and she saw that, but she loves it too. So
good.
Yeah.
Coming back to Simsbury, what are some of your favorite spots? If you had 2 or 3 that you really wanted to pick.
Well, I don't have to go very far. I live in West Simsbury. I go around Tull Meadow. It's beautiful, the views there. And I go to Rosedale Farm a lot because I lived right next door going up. That's easy to paint.
Is there something specific that you're looking for when you go to these spots, or that you find so intriguing about these spots?
Well, I like to get the essence of a place, either the time of day it was or just the feeling of that spot that we all can relate to when we see it.
And I know, I understand what you're saying, because there are times when I'm driving through town and I see a landscape and say, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. We're so lucky to live here and to be able to look at this every day. So I can appreciate what you're saying, and being able to capture that is remarkable too. Yeah. So you said Tull Meadow, Rosedale. Are there other places?
Yeah, Rosedale. Well, I go to McLean a lot, or Great Pond is beautiful. I paint there quite a bit.
It is. Yeah. And a certain time of day, or?
No, it doesn't really matter.
You're good.
Easy,
You have to be flexible, I would imagine.
You really do, and I've learned that. Before, I only want to paint in the afternoon or something, but yeah, sometimes I just paint right around my house. I can do close-ups of flowers or something.
That's great.
Area. Yeah.
That's great. Yes. Yeah. Well, that's another question. Are there particular flowers or scenes that you take to the most? Your work seems to be very diverse.
It is.
It's a wide breadth of of
know.
pieces. So
Yeah.
I'm just
it does.
curious, as the artist, what is the artist really like?
Yeah. I think after painting this many years, I get a little bit bored if I have to paint maybe the same style all the time.
Uh-huh.
I let the scene or the figure, kind of mandate what I'm going to paint, how I'm going to paint, what style I'm going to paint. A lot of artists like to stick to one particular style.
Right.
But everyone says they can recognize my work, so that's a good sign.
That is good.
Yeah.
That is good. And and to your points earlier, your name recognition is out there, and people are noticing what your work is and commissioning that work, which is great. I mean, that says something about the career that you've built.
And I'll have people say, "Oh, I was in Mystic and I saw one of your paintings in a gallery," and this is fun.
How many galleries do you represent you?
I think it's 7 or 8 at the moment.
Wow.
But it's been as much as 14 at some points.
Wow.
But
and where are they?
oh, they're all over. I've got one in Stowe and Nantucket and Litchfield.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Good.
And I have different shows at different places, and
You're a busy woman.
yeah, very busy, very scattered. Sometimes I say yes to too many things.
Yes.
Like all of us, especially fundraisers in town. I mean, I've done the Flowered Bridge, prints, and the one for Simsbury Celebrates. Just did that.
Right. Now, since you mentioned that, what have you done for Simsbury Celebrates? I've seen the.
Yeah, I think I had a picture. They're for sale at Fitzgerald's right now, and they're limited edition prints. It was 175 total, and I signed each one and numbered them.
Oh, very nice.
And I think there's a few left. I think they're pretty much gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're at Fitzgerald's?
They're at Fitzgerald's and the workshop, and La Belle Esprit Spa here.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So if people are interested in purchasing your work, how would they go about getting in touch with you? Your website?
Yeah, the best thing to do is go to my website,
Okay.
which is easy to remember. It's just my name, Catherine with a C, M, and then Elliott with two L's and 2 T's. .com. So CatherineMElliott.com.
Okay. We'll put that up on the screen for folks as well.
Yeah, it's an easy way to see my work.
Right. Well, that's part of what you were mentioning earlier is that being able to both paint and market as a business is kind of a balance that you need to constantly strike.
Yes, it is. What priorities are? I have a little trouble with that sometimes.
Well, how do you do that? How do you decide what? Is it just a moment decision, or is it?
Yeah.
Do you have a strategic plan?
Well, I try to have a plan.
Plans are good.
Yeah. But sometimes maybe I think with my heart a little bit too much, or I'll get too involved in one project. Like, what about the other one?
Right.
And I get a little anxious, but
right.
usually I can fit it all in.
Good. Well, again, balancing.
Balancing, yeah.
There's
like
always,
all of us have that trouble.
We all have it. We all have a lot going on.
Yeah.
But as a businesswoman, who's that becomes a little bit more challenging when you are the sole business person in your business.
Right, I know.
You are driving the business.
I know, that's the thing. I talk to myself a lot.
You get, brainstorm with yourself.
Yeah, okay, no, you don't need to be doing that. That's the other thing.
Good. Well, I mean, how do you decide what to do and what not to do?
Yeah, well, a lot of things individuals are patient, but certain galleries or other things that have deadlines, those I have to make. If I have a show coming up,
right,
I have to have enough body of work for that show.
Right.
So sometimes I'll tell people that you'll have to wait a little longer for that painting, but usually that doesn't happen.
Do you have anything coming up locally? Any shows locally coming up?
Well, I have one right now at Lost Acres Vineyard in Granby.
Okay.
I had that written down. Let's see if I can remember. Well, the Flowered Bridge in June 18th is having a fundraiser.
Yes.
I'm going to be there painting that day.
Oh, very nice.
That night. And I'm working something this fall with a High Blind Tower, a paint out, and I think it's September 20th and 21st.
Okay, good.
Another fundraiser.
Of course.
At the tower, yeah. And then the Simsbury Land Trust at the Riverview.
Oh, very nice.
October 23rd.
Very nice.
And that'll be another fundraiser. So
Good.
come out for that.
Good. And will all of this information be on your website?
It's always on my website, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We're going to start wrapping up quickly, but I just wanted to, as we do that, if you were speaking with a young woman interested in getting involved in making a career out of her passion and her love for painting, what would be a little bit of advice that you would give to her?
Yeah, I would probably just give the advice that I did. Take your time. Don't expect anything to happen overnight, and just start practicing, which means painting every day, or drawing. Even if you can't paint, just draw. But somehow, just like exercise,
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, strengthen your eye and start being able to see.
Just a little
and
bit.
Enjoy it. That's the important thing.
Yes.
Enjoy the journey.
That is important.
It is.
Once you lose sight of that, it becomes more of a job.
It does, and you have to really love it. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of long hours.
I would imagine, and balancing that with family life and everything else that goes on is something that everyone is always striving for. So
yeah,
that's good advice. And would you also suggest that what kind of environment would you suggest these young women interested in a career perhaps become a part of a place like Simsbury?
Oh yes, most definitely. Yeah, especially that women that live in Simsbury and their children might be quite young. You can always start now. You don't have to start big.
Right.
Hardest part is getting started, but
I would imagine that is the hardest part is getting started, and then practicing and finding the time to do it. Every day, and while maintaining a love for it and not making it become a chore.
Yeah. But I say check out my website and see when I'm having workshops, and try a workshop. You're really nothing to lose.
Okay.
It's right here in town. So.
Good. Well, we're lucky to have you here in Simsbury, and lucky to have all the work that you do, that you are spreading not only here in town but across the country and around the world. And we're so lucky to have you representing us
Thank you, Shannon.
in all of these places. And I hope that you continue to do these great things and feature Simsbury. Anything Simsbury specific that you want to feature next?
Oh, that's a good question.
Just as a hint.
Yeah. I don't know. I've got to do the ones I said I would, too. I keep thinking I want to do my own thing, but people keep asking me, like, okay.
Right.
Someday that'll come.
Right. Okay. Well, we want the exclusive.
Okay.
The next time.
My first book will be dedicated to Simsbury.
Exactly. We will, definitely. That'll be great. Well, Catherine, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing your art with us, and we wish you continued success.
Thank you very much.
Upcoming years, and with all your shows and your travels and your upcoming competitions. We wish you well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And this has been another edition of the Simsbury Woman. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.